Me out in the berry patch. It's that time of year. It's time to start picking blackberries. They are about a week and a half earlier than they normally ripen. We had an early spring. We've had a lot of high temperatures lately. That's really started to ripen these berries. So join me while we pick these delicious berries, and we'll be turning them into cobblers and jellies over the next couple days. All right, I got my picking bucket down here, and we're just gonna get at it. And what we're looking for are the big black plump blackberries. We have a little bit of sun scald on them, which you can see by these little spots like that, but overall they are looking fantastic. So need to get as many picked as possible, because once they get to the fully ripened stage, they will start shriveling up pretty quickly. So it's really important that you get them picked so that you don't waste any of your harvest. After all, the harvest period is usually only a week and a half to 2 weeks at most, because they do ripen in stages or flushes. But you want to make sure that you're getting as many berries off of here as you can before they start shriveling back up, because then they get really tart and they're really not edible. I'm wanting to get as many berries as I can. I'm going to be making a cobbler for my fishing buddy, and then I want to make a bunch of jam. And I was looking online, I got a jam recipe I'm going to try that I hadn't tried before. Basically, it's equal parts of sugar and berries. You cook it down, reduce it down, and then you can it. So we're going to see how that goes. But we got to get them picked first. Looks like about 20% of them are ripe so far, which, having a patch this size, that's still a significant amount of blackberries. All right. Back when I had the hobby farm, I'd have a flat, like a strawberry flat you'd get at the store. I'd have it sitting on the ground underneath me, and I'd have 8 craft quart containers that I bought off of Amazon underneath, already in that strawberry flat, and I'd just be picking, and I'd fill that flat up. It was a really efficient way to pick the blackberries. And on the hobby farm, I had 14 rows, 150 foot long, and it was 7 different varieties. Basically, I had 250 foot rows of each variety. And when they started ripening, which it was always right around Father's Day, 1 or 2 days before or after, once they started ripening, it was just crazy. I'd be picking berries every couple days for about 7 or 8 weeks. And that's the reason I had the different varieties. That way, you know, it prolonged the harvest. Because each variety, you're only going to get, you know, 7 to 12 days max picking time. You might have a few straggling berries, you know, past that 7 to 10 days or whatever, but for the most part, the majority of your berries are going to ripen pretty quick. But by having that many varieties, I was able to prolong the harvest, which was good, because we sold at the farmers markets. We had one market on a Wednesday, I believe, and then the other market was on a Saturday, and we'd always sell out. We sold them for $5 a quart, and we'd always be one of the first vendors to sell out. We usually take about 45 or 50 quarts with us to market. So it was a pretty nice little side gig. Now I just Grow these for fun. Not trying to sell them. If I can get enough to put up some jam and give some away to some friends, and that's what it's all about. Now this plant here is absolutely loaded. These are all the same variety. These are all Apache. But this one here is just absolutely loaded with ripe berries. Now over the winter, what I did for fertilization is I came through and put 2 large Folger cans of kitchen compost at the base of each plant. And when I say the large can, I'm referring to the Sam's Club size. It's like a 48-ounce can. And so every plant got a lot of compost added to it. And I did that last year and the previous year. And that really is basically the only fertilizer that these plants received. I hadn't used any Miracle-Gro on these Blackberry plants or anything like that, but they are loaded. Got some of that sun scald damage, but I've been eating these berries the last couple days. They started ripening, and just as I've walked by them, I'll grab a handful. Just want to make sure, you know, you wait all year for them. It's hard to walk by them and not grab a few. I said that first plant was only about 20% ripe. I'd say this one's about 50% ripe. Say the average berry size right now is about the length of that last joint on my thumb, about as round as my finger. There's a few that are smaller, there's a few that are bigger, but I'd say that's about the average. Just kind of show you what I picked right there real quick. Look at those. Delicious. The best time to pick your blackberries is definitely early in the morning or later in the evening. Not having too much mosquito pressure or anything like that right now, so it's really comfortable to be out here right now, not getting chewed up by anything. And you don't want to pick them in the heat of the day because the berries are going to be more likely to be damaged when you're putting them in your bucket or your container. So just keep your picking to the out of the heat of the day hours. Putting all these berries in a big stock pot. The ones with blemishes I'm just throwing on the ground. Well, as you can probably see, I'm starting to lose my light. There's still a lot of good berries in here. At this point, I'm trying to get just the biggest ones because I know the birds are going to be in here tomorrow and they'll be trying to have their way, which there's plenty to share. But we got to get what we can. Like the weed along the way too. There we go. All right, got enough for tonight. Time to get inside and get these cleaned off. So we're gonna get these berries rinsed off because, you know, they live outside with the creepy crawlies. You never know, there might be a worm crawling in there or something. So I'm using cold water so that it won't, you know, bust any of the berries. Container. So that's 2 gallons of berries right there. I'm going to be making a cobbler tomorrow, and I'm also going to be making some jelly. So I think it took me about 15 minutes or so to pick these berries. Normally when I had the farm, I'd be getting $5 a quart, so this would have been $40 in berries that I could have sold. I would have definitely got $40 out of them, no problem. We got $5 a quart, sometimes $6 a quart, but never less than $5. And so this would have been $40 in 15 minutes of picking. Alright, starting to float them a little bit. Get in there, move them around a little bit. Any of that debris in there is going to float to the top. You know, ice pack? Okay. There you go. I'd say we had a little bit above normal sun scald this year. I'm not sure. I mean, we had the temperature really popped up there quick, and that is part of the reason why you'll get a little more sun scald than other years. Just a rapid change of temperature, and those druplets, they just can't handle it. It's no different than if you don't take a plant out and get it used to being outside, and then you put it in the garden, it's going to get sunburnt. All right, now once they're good and drained, we're going to go ahead and get them backed up. Since I'm going to be processing them tomorrow, I'm just going to go ahead and get them bagged up. I need 2.5 cups for the cobbler, the one I'm making at least. It's more like a cakey cobbler. I'd have to ask my wife how many quarts she uses. and a regular cobbler. I feel like one heaping quart would make a cobbler. When we used to sell the Blackberries, that's what we'd always tell the customers. That if you were gonna make a cobbler, you needed one full quart. Anything less than that, it's just not quite enough. Now for the one I'm making, it's more like a cake cobbler. It's a Pioneer Woman recipe. And I'll be picking again tomorrow. And I'll have some fresh berries to add to what I'm gonna process. I'd like to make, I have 10 pint jars and I have 3 quart jars that I'm gonna process.